Okay guys, this activity is going to count as a test grade, so I need you to listen very carefully because there are a lot of parts to it. Okay, I'm just going to start with the card set A, expressions. Your job is to match each and every one of those, E1 through E14, with the card set B, the words, W1 through W14, okay? Once you have those matched, then you will take and match to card set C, the tables, T1 through T8. Notice at the top of that it says some will be used more than once. So some of these tables will match to more than one set of the E and W cards. Now every single E will have a W match, okay? Let me say that one more time. Every single E card will have a W card match. Now, when you start getting those matched, then you start going to the tables, there won't be a table for each one. Some tables will be used more than once for each match. Notice there are 14 E and 14 W cards, but there are only 8 table cards. So that shows you're going to have to use a table more than once. But I will give you one hint. One of your E and W matches will not have a table or an area model. One of your E cards and W cards that you match will not have a table card and an area card, okay? But all the other ones will. Okay, and same with the area models. Notice there's only 8 of those. So some of those will be used with more than one of your matches with your E and W's, okay? And if I were you, I would have a separate sheet of paper to keep up with it. For instance, let's say E3 matches W5, and I don't know if it does or not. I'm just throwing that out there. On a piece of paper, you would put E3, and then draw an arrow and put W5, and then draw an arrow and figure out which table, and write the T7, and then draw an arrow. That way you can keep up with it since you have 4 sheets of paper. I hope that makes sense. Okay, let me do one example for you. This is going to be a give me. I'm going to start with, let's just do E2, 3n squared. I'm going to find the W card that matches that. Okay, well, you go through and you read each of the translations, and I happen to know, to save us time, that W11 will match E2. Because read what it says, square n, then multiply by 3. Well, that's exactly what is going on in E2. N has been squared, and it's being multiplied to 3. So on a separate sheet, you would put E2 goes to W11. You following me? Now we got to find a table. For time's sake, I just happen to know that that is T4. And the way I know that is you're going to plug in. Notice that the table has values of n. You remember from past years of school an input-output table. You're going to input 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the place of n in the expression. Plug it in, work it out, and see what answers it gives you. Okay? Well, let's start with the first one, 1. Well, you're going to plug 1 in for n in the expression. Well, you know from order of operations or PEMDAS, we're going to have to do the exponent first. Well, what is 1 squared? 1. And what's 1 times 3? 3. Well, that's exactly what it says the output should be, 3. So far, it's matching, but you got to make sure it works for every single one of them, okay? Well, notice for 2, we don't have the output answer, so we have to fill that in on the table. So you got to fill in the missing parts as well. So yes, it's going to be a lot of trial and error. That's why this is a test grade. So let's plug in 2 into 3n squared. So that's going to be 3 times 2 squared. And remember PEMDAS, you do exponents first after parentheses, but we don't have parentheses. So 2 squared is 4, and 4 times 3 is 12. So our output in the table, you're going to fill in, and it's going to be hard for me to get it to fit, should be 12. And we're still not sure if this is the correct table. So you have to keep going and make sure 3 and 4 works. So you'll plug in 3 into 3n squared. 3 squared is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. Ding, ding. We're doing good so far. Now let's plug in 4. Test it. Plug in 4. 4 squared is 16. 16 times 3 is 48. Ding, ding. We found our table. T4. Now you're going to go and find an area model that matches it. Okay, let's see what we can find. And we learned in previous activities how to do area models. Well, I just happen to know that it's going to be A3. Well, let's look. Well, we learned in that previous lesson that you multiply what's on the side to what is on the top. Okay? And it's like a distributive property type problem, correct? So it'd be like n times n plus n plus n. Okay? Well, when you multiply, don't you get n squared? N times n is n squared, plus n times n is n squared, plus n times n is n squared. And remember, combine like terms to simplify. What is n squared plus n squared plus n squared? There's an understood wood in front of each one, right? So 3n squared. So now I know that A3 is the area model that matches. And like I said, you will do this for each one of your E and W cards. And also remember, one of your E and W matches will not have a table or area. Okay guys, good luck. Remember, this is a test grade. When you submit your work, make sure it's where I can read and understand what your matches look like. And I think you'll do great. Let me know if you need me.